From exile and hunger, he carved his path with blood and steel. Empires crumbled, cities burned, and fear spread with his name. Loved by his warriors, hated by his enemies. His shadow stretched across continents. Witness the rise of Genghis Khan, the storm that changed history forever. In the vast windswept steppes of Mongolia, a child was born who would one day change the course of history. His name was Temujin, the boy who would become Genghis Khan, the man feared by empires and remembered as the most powerful conqueror the world has ever known. Born in the year 1162, Temujin entered a world of endless struggle. Life on the steppe was brutal. Tribes fought for survival, raiding each other for food, horses, and power. From the very beginning, the boy's destiny was tied to war. Temujin's father, Yesugei, was a respected tribal chief. But when Temujin was only 9 years old, tragedy struck. His father was poisoned by a rival clan. Suddenly, the young boy's family was abandoned and left to wander the wilderness. Hunger, betrayal, and despair defined his childhood. It was here, in hardship and exile, that Temujin learned the first rule of survival: trust no one, fear nothing. Yet fate had greater plans. Through alliances, cunning strategy, and sheer will, Temujin began to unite the scattered Mongol tribes. This was no easy task. The Mongols were divided by endless rivalries. Yet Temujin offered them something no other leader could: the dream of unity. By 1206, after years of bloodshed and victory, Temujin had achieved the impossible. At a grand council of chiefs, known as a Kurultai, he was declared Genghis Khan, the universal ruler of all Mongols. The world had a new conqueror, one who would build not just an army, but an empire greater than anything the earth had ever seen. With the tribes of Mongolia united under his banner, Genghis Khan forged an army unlike any the world had ever seen. They were fierce horsemen, masters of the bow, disciplined and loyal only to him. Their first great test came against the powerful Jin dynasty of northern China. For centuries, the Jin emperors had looked down upon the Mongols as little more than savages. But Genghis Khan would teach them fear. City after city fell. The Mongols used speed, strategy, and psychological warfare, spreading terror so great that entire towns surrendered without a fight. By 1215, the great Jin capital of Zhongdu, modern Beijing, was captured. The world began to realize that a storm had been unleashed from the steppes. In 1218, Genghis Khan turned his gaze westward, toward the wealthy empire of Khwarezm, stretching across Persia and Central Asia. At first, he sought peace, sending trade caravans to establish friendly ties. But the Khwarezm Shah made a fatal mistake. He betrayed the Khan, seizing the caravans and murdering his envoys. To Genghis Khan, this was unforgivable. What followed was one of the most devastating campaigns in history. Samarkand, Bukhara, Nishapur, one by one, the proud cities of Khwarezm were reduced to ash. Millions perished. The Mongols showed no mercy. When asked why he destroyed so completely, Genghis Khan's message was clear: I am the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you. With Khwarezm in ruins, the Mongol armies pushed even further. They swept through the Caucasus, crushing Georgia and Armenia, and clashed with the mighty Kievan Rus of Eastern Europe. At the Battle of Kalka River in 1223, the Mongols annihilated a coalition of Russian princes. Europe trembled. The Mongols had shown that no fortress, no army could stand in their way. Yet Genghis Khan was not only a destroyer, He was also a builder. To rule his vast empire, he introduced a code of laws known as the Yasa, strict rules that bound his people together. He promoted merit over birth, rewarding loyalty and skill rather than noble blood. He welcomed scholars, artisans, and merchants. Under his rule, the Silk Road flourished as never before. From China to Persia, from Russia to India, trade, ideas, and cultures flowed across his empire. For all his brutality, Genghis Khan laid the foundation of a global network that connected East and West. In his later years, even as age weighed upon him, Genghis Khan remained restless. In 1226, he launched his final campaign against the Western Xia Kingdom of China. The Shah had once defied him, and he would not forgive. But fate caught up with the great conqueror. In 1227, during this campaign, Genghis Khan fell ill, or, as some say, was injured after a fall from his horse. His condition worsened, and on August 18, 1227, the mighty Genghis Khan breathed his last. His body was carried back to Mongolia. The place of his burial remains unknown to this day, a mystery buried in the vast steppes. Legend says the soldiers who escorted his funeral killed anyone they encountered to keep the secret of his tomb. When he died, Genghis Khan had carved out the largest contiguous land empire in history. His descendants would expand it even further, stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe. To some, Genghis Khan was a barbarian, a ruthless destroyer. To others, he was a visionary, a unifier who reshaped the world. But one truth cannot be denied. The echo of his hoofbeats still resounds in history. This was the life of Genghis Khan, the man who rose from exile and hunger to become the ruler of half the known world.